My name is Lovely Midik and I will be presenting Task 3. For Task 3, we have to select assessment issue in the primary language classroom context from the following. The first one is assessment in the 21st century, the second one assessment techniques for diverse learners' need, and the third one cultural and ethical issues. For this task, I selected issues and challenges of assessment in 21st century in the primary language context. Assessment is a central feature of teaching. It provides the means for ensuring competence, quality, providing guidance and feedback. There are many issues and challenges of assessment in education. I will be presenting the issues and challenges of assessment in the 21st century in the primary language context. One of the issues and challenges of the assessment in the 21st century is teachers' readiness. In Malaysia, language curriculum has undergone several reforms since the implementation of the Malaysian Education's Blueprint 2013-2025. In 2016, the standard curriculum for primary schools was revised to align with the Common European Framework of References (CEFR) for languages. This more action-oriented approach resulted in fundamental changes to teaching, learning, and assessment, including the integration of an innovative school-based assessment. It witnessed a shift from the traditional stance of assessment of learning to assessment for learning that emphasizes both peer and self-assessment as necessary components for the development of autonomous language learners. Little 2013 emphasized that the CEFR aligned primary school language curriculum is one that fosters learner autonomy through a democratization of second language. With this approach, English learners are guided by teachers to self-assess themselves so that they are capable of taking more responsibility for their own language learning. Teachers provide the necessary guidance and scaffolding to help their students to identify learning targets, monitor progress, and encourage self-assessment. Thus, teacher is the most important agent in realizing this school-based assessment a success in school. A study done by FAISA 2011 found that most English teachers are worried about their ability to conduct the assessment. Another study also demonstrated that many English teachers displayed a lack of confidence. Because they have very little knowledge and they cannot differentiate instructions, as they felt that there is only one type of formative assessment tool to grade all pupils. Other than that, Teachers also have lack of understanding of the purpose of the norm reference assessment. This is why teachers need to be equipped with the knowledge and understanding the assessment standard under the CEFR aligned curriculum. As Bod and Malloy 2013 emphasized that teachers with a good knowledge of assessment techniques can better choose relevant feedback for their students. The second issues regarding assessment in 21st century is development of assessment instrument. The development of assessment instrument has added extra workload for the teachers. This is because before the implementation of this assessment, teacher only prepared formative assessment in terms of like the monthly tests and summative assessment, which is mid-year and also end of year examination. Now, teachers are expected to assess each pupil according to the individual performance level after teaching each learning standard, which clearly demands more of the time and effort. As a result, teacher will use any materials they can find to assess student. So, without thorough checking and analysis of the instrument for the assessment, teacher will not be able to identify the real performance of students in class. This is because the instrument could be inappropriate or not suitable for the student's level of proficiency. Teachers who have not mastered the skill of identifying the different level of statements and the method of constructing evidence will opt for ready-made assessment tools, although knowing that these tools might not be fully serve the purpose of the assessment. Moving on to the next point. The next issue and challenges in implementing assessment in 21st century is the assessment is tedious and time consuming. This is particularly problematic and time consuming when the class size is large. Currently, the average class size in Malaysian school ranges from 35 to 45 pupils per class. It is understandable that when the class size is large, the amount of time needed to assess each individual pupil would take longer time. This issue becomes more prominent if the pupils in a class are of various mastery level. Because in one class, definitely there will be students with low level of performance, and there will be those who is high level of performance. So to assess each one of them will take some time, especially in large class. In English language classroom, where teacher need to assess students' 4 language skills, which is speaking, listening, reading, and writing, teacher will need to allocate a longer time for the assessment because it cannot be done in one time, at one period of time. For instance, today, teacher will assess their speaking skills and listening skills, and the next assessment would be for other skills. At this point, the assessment process will hinder teaching and learning process, learning at class, because it needs more time to be executed. A small class size will allow teachers to have more time in observing and coaching the pupils more effectively. Furthermore, the use of online assessment management system has also been the issue and challenges of assessment in the 21st century. As intended by the Ministry of Education, the implementation of school-based assessment is guided by the School-Based Assessment Guide, the Performance Standards Document, and the School-Based Assessment Management System Manual provided by the Examination Board. This is to ensure the stored data can then be automated efficiently and effectively for producing reports by the various parties at all levels, whether at school level, district education office, state education department, or Ministry of Education. So, because of this, teachers express their distress over the use of online school-based assessment management system, because it has increased their workload. At times, the online system, because if the teachers in the whole country getting inside the systems, definitely the systems will slow down and sometimes disconnected, cannot be accessed by teachers. So it is really not convenient, especially when teachers have a lot of many classes that needed to key in, the data need to key in inside the system. And due to the time constraint, some teachers will have to complete this task at home. This can result in the majority of teachers felt that their time is used in managing the files rather than coaching, or rather than helping people with their classroom activities. In the context of a rural area where internet connection is not stable, or worse, unavailable, teacher will need to travel to key in marks of the assessment. And usually, for those in rural area, especially for those in P2 or P3, pedalaman 3, pedalaman 2, they will go through a very challenging roads, and even some might need to use that boat, or some have to go through forest. They have to walk by feet to reach to a town, nearby town, for to key in the data. So this will be a burden because of the distance that they needed to endure and they needed to face. They also have to sacrifice their time to teach in class. Okay. My last point is school facility. This is also an issue and also a challenge to many schools, especially again in the rural areas. It is pertinent in school to be equipped with relevant technological resources to conduct lesson in English language classroom. The use of technology will encourage more active learning among students, and it will increase the interest to learn English language, because technology is a powerful tool in supporting students' learning. In English language assessment encompass speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So without proper facilities such as computers, speakers, soundproof room to teach the listening and speaking skills, teacher will not be able to assess their performance or their level of mastery of that particular skills. So as a result, teacher will allocate marks based on their own observations in class, and at this point, teacher's bias can occur. Teacher's bias can affect the grading. Typically, in class, teachers favors active students who participate well in the lesson, who confidently share their ideas, who is more of a vocal, more expressive than the rest. So, which is not indicator of being better than those passive students who prefer to just observe and listen in class. So in order to prevent teachers from grading students without giving them fair or equal chances to show their potential, school need to accommodate necessary facilities that support fair assessment. Because if in a soundproof class for speaking tests, everybody have the opportunity to talk, to be assessed fairly by teachers. And meanwhile, for listening, everybody have access to the materials and they can prove the understanding based on the audio by answering the questions given. or even responding to questions from teachers, for example. In conclusion, I have identified 5 issues and challenges related to assessment in the 21st century by referring to the Malaysian context of primary language classroom. I would like to summarize my points. The first challenges related to teachers' readiness. The second issues and challenges in relation to the assessment of in 21st century is the development of the assessment instrument, and then the next one is about the assessment nature, which requires teacher to be tedious, which requires teachers to allocate more time for the assessment. And then besides that, another issues and challenges are related to the online assessment management system, and the last one is related to school facility to support the assessment in 21st century. So that is all from me. Thank you very much.